Have you ever heard a story so strange, so chilling, that it stays with you long after you've heard it? Well, get ready, because today we're diving into one of the most baffling and enduring mysteries of the 20th century, the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Picture this. It's the winter of 1959. In the remote Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, a group of 9 experienced hikers, mostly students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, set out on a challenging expedition led by Igor Dyatlov. These weren't amateurs. They were skilled, prepared, and ready for the harsh conditions. Their goal was to reach Ural Mountain, a journey that should have been tough but manageable for a group of their caliber. They were expected to send a telegram back home by February 12th, but that telegram never came. Days turned into weeks, and silence from the group sparked alarm. A search and rescue operation was launched. On February 26th, the search party made a horrifying discovery. They found the hiker's tent, abandoned on the slopes of a mountain ominously named Kholat Syakhl, which translates to Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. What they found inside and around the tent was just the beginning of a puzzle that has confounded investigators for over 60 years. The tent was bizarrely sliced open from the inside. It was clear the hikers had fled in a desperate hurry, but why? What could possibly scare 9 seasoned mountaineers into cutting their way out of their only shelter into the freezing, sub-zero wilderness? Even stranger, they left behind all their warm clothing, shoes, and supplies. Footprints in the snow showed they had run downhill, some of them barefoot or wearing only socks. It was a scene of pure, unadulterated panic. The searchers followed the tracks and soon found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Krivonoshenko and Yuri Doroshenko, under a large pine tree about a mile from the camp. They were dressed only in their underwear, and there were signs they had tried to start a fire. The branches on the pine tree above them were broken, suggesting someone had frantically tried to climb it, perhaps to get a better view or escape from something on the ground. A short distance away, 3 more bodies were found: Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. Their positions suggested they were trying to make their way back up the slope, back to the relative safety of the tent. It seemed they had succumbed to hypothermia, fighting against the brutal cold until their last breath. But the mystery was far from over. The real shock came 2 months later, in May, when the snow began to melt. The remaining 4 hikers were discovered in a ravine, buried under more than 10 feet of snow, and their injuries were unlike anything the investigators had ever seen. Nicholas Thibeaux-Brignoles had a major skull fracture. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryev had catastrophic chest injuries, with multiple broken ribs. The doctor who performed the autopsies compared the force required to cause such damage to that of a high-speed car crash. Yet bafflingly, there were no external wounds, no soft tissue damage, as if they had been crushed by an immense invisible force. And that's not even the weirdest part. Lyudmila Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Semyon Zolotaryev was missing his eyeballs. Alexander Kolovatov was also missing his eyebrows. What could have caused these specific, grotesque injuries? Initial investigations were stumped. The official conclusion at the time was that the hikers died from a compelling natural force. This vague explanation satisfied no one and only fueled decades of speculation. What could this compelling natural force be? The theories range from the plausible to the outright bizarre. Let's start with the most straightforward explanation: an avalanche. Proponents of this theory suggest that a slab avalanche struck the tent, forcing the hikers to cut their way out and flee. The internal injuries could have been caused by the crushing weight of the snow. This seems logical, right? But there are problems. The investigators found no evidence of an avalanche at the site. The tent was on a relatively gentle slope, not typical avalanche terrain. Plus, why would experienced hikers set up camp in a place they knew was dangerous? And an avalanche doesn't explain why some tried to climb a tree or why they fled so far from the tent without their gear. Okay, so if not an avalanche, what about something more sinister? Another popular theory involves a secret Soviet weapons test. The area was known to be used for military exercises. Could the hikers have accidentally stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to see? Some reports from other groups in the area around that time mentioned seeing strange orange spheres or lights in the sky. This could explain the panic and the unusual radiation levels found on some of the hikers' clothing. The concussive blast from a missile or a prototype weapon could have caused the massive internal injuries without leaving external marks. But again, there's no official record of any tests happening that night. Then we enter the realm of the truly strange. Could it have been an attack by the local Mansi people? This was an early theory, but it was quickly dismissed. The Mansi were peaceful, and the nature of the injuries didn't match any known hunting or fighting techniques. There were no signs of a struggle with another group of people. This brings us to one of the most enduring and unsettling theories: an encounter with something not of this world. The strange lights in the sky, the inexplicable fear, the bizarre injuries, and the missing soft tissues have led many to speculate about a UFO or an alien encounter. Was the group silenced because they saw something extraterrestrial? It sounds like science fiction, but when you eliminate the logical, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth, right? The missing tongue, for instance, has never been adequately explained by any natural cause. And what about the infrasound theory? This hypothesis suggests that a specific weather phenomenon called a Karaman vortex street could have generated low-frequency sound waves, or infrasound, which is inaudible to humans but can induce intense feelings of panic, dread, and nausea. This could explain why the group fled their tent in terror. The wind whipping around the mountain peak could have created this effect. While it explains the panic, it doesn't explain the catastrophic physical injuries. In 2019, over 60 years after the event, Russian authorities reopened the case. Their updated conclusion, released in 2020, circled back to a natural cause. They proposed a revised avalanche theory, a delayed slab avalanche. According to this, the hikers cut a ledge into the snow to set up their tent, which compromised the snowpack above them. Hours later, in the middle of the night, a slab of snow slid down, not burying the tent completely, but covering it enough to trap them and cause some initial injuries, sparking the panic. They fled, and in the darkness and disorientation, they became separated and ultimately succumbed to the elements. The severe injuries of the last 4 hikers were explained by them falling into the ravine and being crushed by the snow and ice. This revised theory provides a more plausible step-by-step account of what might have happened. It ties together many of the loose ends in a logical, scientific way. But for many, it still feels incomplete. It doesn't fully account for the sheer terror that made them abandon all survival instincts. It doesn't explain the radiation, and it certainly doesn't explain the strange lights reported in the sky. The mystery of the missing tongue remains an unsettling question mark. So, what do you think happened on that frozen mountainside in 1959? Was it a freak accident of nature, a tragic convergence of an avalanche and extreme weather? Was it a military cover-up, the collateral damage of a secret Cold War experiment? Or was it something else entirely, something so strange and terrifying that we can barely comprehend it? The Dyatlov Pass Incident is a perfect storm of unanswered questions. It's a story where every plausible explanation has a counter-argument, and every clue leads to more confusion. The 9 hikers went looking for adventure, but they found a mystery that has outlived them by decades, a chilling tale written in the snow. Their story serves as a stark reminder that even in our modern world, there are some places and some events that defy easy explanation, leaving us to wonder about the secrets that lie hidden, waiting beneath the snow. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. What's your theory? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the unknown, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content. See you next time.